Hey, what's up?
What up?
How's it going?
Good, man. Happy New Year.
Oh, sorry. This is my first time behind the wheel. I'm getting maybe a little bit of lag or
It could be me, man. Holy cow,
every,
look at all those comments, man.
where's that coming from?
If
Are
you
you getting
go
a delay in yours?
No?
It's repeating in mine. Let's see.
Oh, do you have an echo going on? Maybe
Yeah, I have an echo going on.
let me check
What
my
about now?
I don't have an echo. I don't hear an echo.
Yeah, it's repeating what I just said like 30 seconds ago. It's crazy.
Oh, that is weird. It's probably because you're on a Windows machine. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. How am I going to get rid of that? Because I can't. Wait. What about?
You're about as good at this as I am.
Let me try that. Hello. Whoa, that was really hot. Yeah. Let me try this. Hello.
This is riveting stuff, guys.
Yeah. Sorry. I thought I had all the bugs worked out, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah. These are difficult because you do them live.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone's having a. No, I heard something like a click.
Okay. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm still getting this crazy lag and this echo.
That's weird, man. Maybe turn your mic on and off. Good stuff.
I might have to grab a different mic. Dude. I hate to do that to you.
No, you're all good, man. I'll entertain everybody. I can't. So I'll just read some of the comments and I can't highlight.
I'll be right back.
No problem. John Stump, very cool. A New Year's Eve party. Looking forward to it. Dirty Thirsty, John. Great to see you in here. Dirty Thirsty, is this a New Year's Eve AA party? I guess it could be. Cat's out of the bag on that one. Title's down tonight. Tyler at home. Title's down tonight. That's annoying. Yeah, that is annoying. That's why you need to have physical media. That's why you need to grab yourself a nice CD, your favorite CD from when you were young, impressionable, maybe in the back of a car occasionally, or a nice vinyl record. And sit back and enjoy the dulcet tones of physical media. We got John SB 1550 JBL L100s are my rockets. I need to get some of those in because I've heard nothing but great things about the JBLs. Iconic speaker, and I've never even heard them. Never once. All right. Brian Romska, my man. Hey, everyone. Happy almost New Year from Detroit. Happy New Year to you, Brian. Hope you're doing well, man. I was thinking about you today because I've been getting a rash of like negative comments. And I always love it when I see a negative comment and then I see Brian Romska jump in and defend me. You're my boy, Brian. You're my boy. My boy, Blue. James Walkowiak. Happy New Year from Salem, Mass. Very nice. Thomas Dix, another one of my brothers. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, Thomas. I hope you're doing well, man. You're an hour ahead, right? You going to stay up for New Year's? All right. We got Strangerous. Became a new member. I have no idea how to do that. Like being a member. Maybe I should turn that on. I hate to do that, though, because I have a Patreon, too. It sounds kind of like, I don't know. I guess you get cool things like Strangerous. Let's see. Anybody? Brock Gerling, my man. Happy New Year's. You know, it's funny. Brock shows up to your live streams and not to mine, Kevin.
Yeah, we got. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good. I don't have that crazy wicked echo.
Good. Good.
It's kind of crazy how the community follows all the other channels. You know,
Yeah.
it seems like the people that are into audio, you know, they're into it. They're watching everybody.
No,
Because
as they should, man.
Yeah. If I go to one of your videos, I see, you know, quite a few recognizable faces.
You know, we got to really, it's such a loyal fan base because like I look at content creators like in the camera world, they'll have like 1.5 million subscribers and they don't get a ton of views anymore. And I'm like, our niche, like we don't have near the subscribers as a lot of these other niches have, but yet we get more views per video. We just have a really loyal fan base, which is really cool. It's a loyal hobby. I love it.
Well, I mean, I kind of got a feeling a lot of people that are into music or, you know, I don't mean to, I hate to use the word loner, but you know,
you're right, man.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a one-man show, you know, most of the time, anytime I'm listening to music, it's by myself.
Right.
You know, it's because I spend a lot of time by myself, you know?
Yeah.
So.
It's also a lonely deal being a content creator too.
It is, but that, you know, I've met a few now. You definitely the most, you know, because I reached out to you early on. You know, I don't even know if I had 1,000 subscribers, and I said, you know, Randy, help me. You know, I don't know what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm gaining a little bit of traction here. And
you're gaining a lot of traction, man. And the funny thing is like I'm looking at your stuff and I'm like learning about pacing and the way that you do your lead-ins and stuff. I mean, your stuff is wonderful.
Thank you, man.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from you too. You know, almost everybody that's, you know, that does this. You know, I think it's a really cool group. I really do. But I've always been around other musicians, other people that are into music. It's just kind of been the bond of every friendship, at least that has lasted more than, you know, any long-term relationship I have in my life. There's a music bond in there somewhere just because, you know, it's such a big part of my life and it always has been.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it's the same way with you, you know.
It's funny you mentioned that because it's not necessarily music. Well, kind of music. So I just got off not the phone, but I was texting one of my buddies who I served with in the Navy in submarines. So we were on the same boat together. We were chit chatting. It's been 25 years, man, but you know, we're still bros. But he was really into metal too. And that was in the late 90s. So a lot of like the new metal stuff with Korn, Slipknot. And it's a cool time, man. We used to trade CDs all the time when we were on the boat.
Yeah, well, I mean, being from Nebraska, that really kind of makes sense because, you know, the same way here, you know, in Iowa, that was the dominant format or the dominant genre. You know, I mean, there were cooler people than me listening to better music, but, you know, me and my kind of doofus friends, that's just, you know, we were angry. We were, you know, I don't know, not fitting in, I guess. And that music just kind of grabbed me. And I don't know.
No, for sure. Well, and that music was getting radio play, man. I mean, Korn, White Zombie at the time, Limp Bizkit was getting
Manson.
a ton of radio play. And it was kind of that cool transition out of grunge into new metal. And the funny thing was Korn was on TRL. Is that right? It was a thing on MTV.
Carson Daly.
Yeah. So it was Korn, and then like the next episode or even the same episode, Britney Spears was on. So it was a really cool time in music because you had both mainstream, couldn't be more different, you know, happening at the same time. And, you know, metal doesn't get, well, I don't know. I don't listen to radio anymore, but, you know, with XM and everything, it's like everything's categorized now. It's not ubiquitous like it used to be.
Well, and Rick Piatto just did a video on that very topic like
Did he?
last week. Yeah. And, he was saying the same thing where, everything used to kind of follow a pattern because, the labels or MTV or the stations were kind of funneling, music to you. And now with algorithms, it kind of just keeps you locked into this
Yeah.
same repetition. And you're not really, unless you go out and seek something outside of your algorithm, it's not really finding you anymore.
Yeah.
And Rick Beato's usually right about everything. That guy's awesome. But
Have you ever watched the
he's
Punk
right.
Rock NBA? Punk Rock NBA?
No,
Dude, chat or write that one down.
I'm writing it down.
This guy does like history of like whatever happened to, and the dude knows so much, especially about punk and metal, and more obscure stuff. But he's got a fantastic channel.
Huh.
Punk Rock NBA.
Yeah. I'm always looking for, I don't know. Yeah, my YouTube feed is psychotic. It's just
Mine
really
is
all over
too.
the place. But,
Well, and it's funny because like whatever I'm watching, like that's all I get, and then I'm like, I want something else. Please, at least throw me a bone here, YouTube. And I have to literally seek out something else and watch a couple of videos to get some of those other creators back into my feed that I like to watch.
it's funny, isn't it? You know how to massage the algorithm?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do, because I'll even just start a couple videos of a topic I want to watch just so they start populating
Yeah.
into my page.
Yeah.
And if I go too far down one rabbit hole, I've got to correct myself and go, okay, I can't watch any more of that for a while. Otherwise,
Right.
that's all I'm going to get for the next month.
Yeah, for sure. So what's up?
Yeah.
You tired?
Yeah, I'm tired.
We're old men. I am too.
I know. I thought about this because, I reached out to you a little bit ago and I was like, maybe we should do like a New Year's Eve or a New Year's Day live stream, thinking that, my audience, and I think yours too, they're older. And, and the older I get, the less fun and the less I go out at all.
Right.
So, I knew it was kind of a crapshoot, but it looks like we've got quite a few people in here. And that's good. You guys are just as, I guess, sad and lonely as Randy and I.
Well, we're smart and we have kids. And
yeah.
Yeah,
that's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah. For sure.
It's sad. I rarely go anywhere. We've got a couple of guys here that, they're total, they're always going places and doing things. I'm just like,
God, that sounds like a lot of work.
I
don't envy it. I don't envy him. I'm just like, oof. Got more energy than I do.
Yeah, I know Tony goes out all the time. Dirty 30. It looks like I can click on these. I'll show that.
Yeah, there you go.
And KEXP. I love KEXP. I've found so many good bands. That's a radio station up in Seattle, I believe. Am I right? I think
I don't know.
Seattle. Great show. It's kind of like Jules Holland, where Jules Holland has a live audience, I think, but they bring in kind of up and coming bands that people haven't really heard of, and they do an in studio live recording, and it's great quality. And a lot of times I end up skipping. I'm like, I'm not into that. But sometimes you find a winner or whatever.
I need to listen to more of that.
Yeah, check it. Okay, well, I'm gonna check out Punk Rock NBA. Go check out KEXP. It's good stuff. So are we is anybody, how many people out there are having a cocktail right now? Put a 1 in the comment if you are. I just want to see the level of sobriety in our community. Yeah, me too, man.
Somebody was in here saying, is this an AA party? And I said,
it can be.
Oh, cat's out of the bag. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. I don't bag on it. I wish I could still,
I'm not responsible enough to drink.
I'm not either, man.
Yeah.
I'm full throttle.
Well, I'm 100%, man. If I'm whatever I do is 100 miles an hour. And
that's right.
I used to drink 100 miles an hour too.
Me too. I drink till I blacked out or passed out. Same thing. But There was no off switch at all.
Hey, look at Todd. Todd T's in the house. He's one of my patrons. He's a longtime patron of mine. He's drinking some bottled water. See, he's like me. He says I've had enough drinks back in the day to last a lifetime, and I'm exactly the same way. I drank plenty.
Yeah, I do too. I did too. Cold beer. Might as well go for a soda. That was a strange song back in the day. Drinking some Tom and Jerry's. Anybody got any questions or anything? What's everybody doing? Besides hanging out at home. Anybody going out tonight?
I had to pause the Boise State and Penn State game. So don't anybody say what the score is right now, because as soon as this is over, I'm going to go and watch it. From
Yeah,
where
the Oilers are playing tonight too, so I'm going to miss the first 2 periods. But I'm a hockey guy.
yeah.
What are you wearing? Oh,
I think somebody was asking what type of headphones we're wearing.
Mine are Sennheisers freebies.
These are Meze 109 Pros. Pretty good.
Yeah, these are decent too. I bought a collection of stuff and they came with it. I was like, sweet.
There you go.
Yeah. Did Marantz sound stay the same during the 70s or did it change? I think Marantz is one of those that did really hold on to their signature sound. I don't think it varied as much as like Pioneer and Kenwood, some of the other brands. But once you start getting into almost 80s, I think it does start to get a little bit more sterile. But that's just my opinion.
I will say this about Marantz, especially their home theater receivers. They're one of the few companies that has got a little warmth to their sound. And I really appreciate that. Even their new stuff it's got character where everything else sounds exactly the same.
Do you think so?
Well, I think Onkyo, Yamaha, Pioneer, unless you're running some heavy duty DSP, like if you put it in pure direct mode, harsh, mid-range forward, not super dynamic, but Marantz in pure direct mode, it's got some warmth and character to it still.
That's good they're doing that.
Yeah. And Emotiva's home theater receivers, they straight up sound like a vintage receiver. It's the best sounding receiver I've heard. Home theater receiver is the Emotiva stuff.
I haven't heard any of that stuff in so long. When we used to do installs, we were doing a lot of Integra, the Onkyo Integra stuff.
Yeah.
And it just didn't do it for me. I mean, but that's not what it was made for. It was made for home theater, and it did a great job of that.
I think you're being too generous, man. I think they just got stuck with what's simple and easy, and you can just mass produce, and it doesn't sound good for music, with the exception of Marantz. Marantz sounds pretty decent for music.
Yeah, it's too bad they did that, but I've seen a lot of friendly faces in here. People I know. Bruce Coyle, good dude. My Own Devices looks like he's in here too. Got a lot of people. What's up? Oh, Marcus Halbert. He's a cool dude. He is traveling in a Winnebago.
Very nice.
Yeah, enjoy that, man. Randy, did you go to a lot of shows back in the day?
I went to my fair share. I saw White Zombie in '96.
So White Zombie, not Rob Zombie.
It was full on White Zombie. Remember that female bassist?
Absolutely.
That they had. She would just flip her hair. Man, it was not a good show. Filter opened up for them.
Oh,
they were pretty solid. Most of the stuff I go to now, though, I go to a lot more shows now than I did back in the day.
You do?
Yeah.
What kind of shows?
Mostly metal.
Yeah.
So
Coliseum shows or like smaller venue type?
No, they're bigger venue. So like Dos Equis Pavilions in Dallas, and they have a lot of kind of like our genre, 80s, 90s, early 2000s artists will come in. But anytime a metal outfit comes through, I usually try to attend.
Yeah, the Iowa State Fair, man. I got this is a great story. I love this band called Kicks, and it's like this guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah, I
Really,
remember Kicks. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
just huge
That was
choruses
like
and
that
"Don't
was like
Close Your Eyes" was their big song.
yeah, that was like Bullet Boys,
Yes,
time period Warrant,
yeah.
Kicks was right in there. It was the
Kicks is kind of a
transition.
standout, though.
Um, they were kind of like the B tier of like the
Yeah,
Van Halen
Def Leppard.
and Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard. They were B tier right before grunge happened.
They at the Iowa State Fair every year they have a free stage, and they're always bringing in. It's usually an '80s band that's kind of a has been,
Right. Yeah.
and but it's on the free stage, so it's great because I go in, I get to go to the show, I eat my corn dog, I go on the sky lift, and we leave. That's it. That's all I do. And a couple years ago, it's Kicks, and my wife and I go. She's not super familiar with them. We sit down, and I look around, and it's all these farmers. They're 6 years and older, bib overalls, and I'm not
Sure.
kidding. And I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not making fun of Iowa because I love Iowa, but this
Right.
is the reality of it.
Yeah.
And I turn to my wife and I go, just watch the crowd when this band comes out. You don't need to watch the stage, watch the crowd. And all of a sudden they come out and it's, are you ready for a rock and roll party tonight? And half the crowd lifts up instantly and just walks out.
No kidding.
Oh, they had no, it's free stage.
Right.
So they're like, well, I wonder who the Iowa State, brought in this year, thinking, this is gonna be a good old time.
Yeah.
And it was Kicks. It was hilarious. They were great. I
I
loved it.
love it. I have to look them up again because I do have I have a soft spot in my heart for Warrant and Bullet Boys. I think the Bullet Boys were really underrated, man. I thought
I
they were really good.
I saw them in Florida in like 2001. I think they were in Florida. I was going to school in Orlando, and it was at a small club, and I think there was like 30 people there. It was terrible. I mean, they played
Oh,
great, but I mean, the vibe was so bad because there was nobody there. I mean, they were just like, well, I guess we'll play, but it's hard to. There's nothing worse than playing in a band in front of 20 people. It
yeah.
sucks. You
Yeah.
get 100 people, and at least you got a little bit of commotion going on. Otherwise, you feel like you're playing at a funeral.
Yeah.
I liked Bold Boys too. Let me hit this question real quick. Kevin, an opinion on vintage Philips 212, 312 turntables? Love the look, screw over one. They're mainly known as the poor man's thorns, and I love the looks of them. I think they're great turntables. They've got the sensor start and stop, and that can be a little bit problematic. And they're pretty old at this point. So there's like any other turntable, you got the possibility of a bad gimbal or any other thing that could go wrong and will go wrong. But I mean, as far as a vintage turntable goes, they're great. I appreciate the super chat. Dominic, sorry, I can't read. But what was your first concert, Randy? Oh, people are saying Rat and Dio, definitely.
Oh yeah. That was just slightly before my time as far as going to shows. Let's see, what was my first show? I remember the first show my parents took me to was Kenny Rogers. And trying to think what like my first rock and roll show was. I saw, okay, this is going to date me. So it was the Nebraska State Fair.
Oh.
And the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie came out. And there was this, I cannot remember, but it was like mostly hip hop. And I went to that show and I can't remember the name. I think Kid MC. Does that sound familiar? They played. So that, I think that was my first show. I think it was in junior high.
Did you like Kenny Rogers back then? Was that the Gambler era?
Yeah, I think so. I did
the Islands in the Stream era.
I don't remember. The only thing I remember is they tried to shove me out into the aisle because the artists were coming down, and of course, if you're a kid, the artists always, high fives you and stuff. And I was young and I just got scared and I started crying. And then my dad had to go get me nachos to calm me down. So
Oh, that'll do it.
that's what I remembered about that show.
I
That's
would
the
have
only
cried
thing I
at every
remember.
concert just to get the nachos.
Yeah.
I don't know what my first real show was. It was bad too. I went and saw Kiss on the Crazy Nights tour, which is probably the worst era for Kiss. Just because they weren't really doing anything at that point. And White Lion opened up for them. I think it was 60
Oh, I
or
love
50.
White Lion.
Yeah,
Love White Lion. I'd slow dance to White Lion so much in junior high
right.
because me and my buddy were the only kids with stereos. So we would DJ all these junior high dances and we would, cobble together, we'd put together our stereos, right?
Yeah.
And White Lion was the best for slow dance.
What was the
When the
ballad? There you
children
go.
cry. And
Oh,
they had
that'll hit
and
the girl right.
and there's another song called Wait. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. It's really, really good.
Never had a chance to love
That's
you.
right. That's right. Remember Tesla?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Tesla's
Mechanical
supposed to-
Resonance and the Great Radio Controversy.
Yeah, the Great Radio Controversy. They had that one big song. There was the remake song.
No, that was on the 5-man acoustical jam. That
Oh,
was
was it?
that was Signs.
No. Okay, there were Signs, but then there was it was like Radar Love.
That was
Oh
White
no,
Lion.
that was
White Lion
White
did-
Line? Did
Yeah,
Radar Love?
Pride, the next album after.
Okay. All right.
Or was it?
Radar Love.
Yeah, that's White Line. Yeah, it's the old Golden Earring song.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I know. I miss those days,
Oh, Cinderella. So, Detroit 1901. Cinderella, man. I love Cinderella.
I saw them on the Long Cold Winter open up for AC/DC, and AC/DC was on the Heat Seeker tour, and that was a great show. Cinderella was awesome too.
They're really like bluegrass and bluesy. Like I don't think people appreciate Cinderella enough because they just kind of throw them into that hair band, glam band, but they were really good, man. Very bluesy.
Yeah, well, the first album I think was a little bit more hair metal, and then Long Cold Winter came out, and then the Brown Station, and those were straight blues records. And you're right, but I think that first record kind of pigeonholed them into that Bon Jovi thing.
Right. Yeah, very Bon Jovi-esque.
Yeah. Yep. Lead singer Bob Seger and Silver Bullet Band. Led Zeppelin 1975. Yeah,
Can you imagine going to a Led Zeppelin as your first concert, bro? That would be crazy.
Unreal. That's one band. I just go back and forth. If I could go back and see any band, would it be Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath? And I struggle with that question because I'd love to see Black Sabbath in like 1970.
So I was talking to, I don't know if you know him, Steve Z. He's one of my patrons, and he's like 70 or 71. I think he's 70. And so I asked him, I'm like, what was it like the first time you heard Led Zeppelin on the radio? Because that was like, and I know this is a really terrible analogy or comparison, but the first time I heard White Zombie, I'd never heard anything like it. And Zeppelin was kind of like one of those bands where they just came out and you never really heard anything like them before. And I wish I could have been around to be in that era and just hear like Zeppelin, just wailing, with those heavy guitar riffs and stuff like that, being like, holy cow.
Yeah, it must have been just a mind explosion, because.
Or like Deep Purple or something like that with those heavy guitar riffs.
Any of that stuff. There's all that music in the 70s is just unparalleled. It really, at least for me, it is. So many of those bands are just, they'll never be replaced. I mean, we see it every day here. I mean, you have no idea how many copies of Dark Side of the Moon, Boston, Eagles, Black Sabbath we sell every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And it's not people, I can't imagine it's people that have already owned it before. who doesn't own a copy of Dark Side of the Moon? It's got to be a younger person.
I don't.
Oh, you are an anomaly.
Well, I don't like Pink Floyd, and I know that is like very. That's a very like
Well, that was fun talking to Randy. But I think we just found a deal breaker there.
Well, listen, we don't know all that. We can't all like the same stuff.
No.
That's and that Pink Floyd to me is like The Godfather. I don't like any of the Godfather movies. Sorry, I'm sorry. I know they're universally like loved. I get it. I get it.
Abort, Randy, abort. They can hear you.
Hey man, I think like we should be true to ourselves.
No. I'm not. I mean, I don't like the Beatles.
I can take the Beatles or leave it.
I don't know. I just got beat down I've heard it so many times, But I better grab this question. Thank you. My first concert was Fleetwood Mac in 1978.
Oh, Men at Work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Come from a land down under.
Who can it be knocking at my door?
Yeah.
Go away.
Come. Right?
That's Men at Work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
both of them. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Fleetwood Mac. I mean, I don't think it gets more iconic than that. I mean, Rumor still sells like crazy.
Hey, what do you think? So one of the bands I think is super underrated too, and it was like alternative when we were coming up was Midnight Oil. You like Midnight Oil?
Yeah.
I thought they were super underrated.
Yeah. No, I love that stuff from the 80s. I remember I was sitting having dinner with my family in like 1981 or 1982. I had never seen MTV before. And somehow it got put on in the TV in the living room, and it was Kim Carnes' Betty Davis Eyes. And I'm a foodie. And I swear I stood up, I left whatever food was there, I walked over, I sat in front of that TV, and I didn't move for a month. I was just blown away. I loved MTV when I was a kid.
See, we didn't have cable. We had 3 channels because I was rural Nebraska, man. So, like, I would stay up and watch Friday night videos.
Yeah,
you remember Friday night videos?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I used to have an uncle of mine take me Headbangers Ball on.
Oh yeah,
cassette.
Yeah,
because we didn't have it for a while either.
Yeah,
so he was nice enough to program that VCR. Probably had to have a few shots of whiskey for that too. Fastway, yeah, absolutely. There were some good bands in there. You know what's unfortunate about a lot of that music though? A lot of it was recorded so poorly, and
for sure.
I'll get more blowback from that than you not liking Dark Side of the Moon, but
no, it was all recorded. Especially metal was recorded.
It was terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, it really
terrible.
was.
Unless you were a Bon Jovi or Boston, like there was a Chicago record, and it streams. There's a Chicago record. It was recorded so poorly. It sounded like it was recorded on like a mono microphone. It was absolutely terrible, but none of that was recorded for audio files. It was recorded for people listening to it through transistor radios or through, car stereos.
Yeah. And so I would like to see some more metal type records get, the audio file pressing. Chad at Acoustic Sounds, the stuff he did with Stone Temple Pilots is so good, and it's like finally somebody is giving attention to this 90s music because it can sound really good.
Yeah,
if given the right treatment.
Korn stuff is recorded pretty well.
Oh yeah. By the 90s, I felt like it was a notch up.
Yeah, there is. Let me see if I can find it. I think this was 70s. It was For Those About to Rock, and I got this.
That's good stuff.
Actually, I think it's in the living room because I was listening to it in the living room. It was like a radio pressing, not for release to the public, and it's the best recorded vinyl record I think I've heard. I don't have it. It's in the living room.
Yeah. No, I believe it. That was Mutt Lang that recorded that. Even the trilogy there, Highway to Hell, Back in Black, and For Those About to Rock, you know, man, those are
Well, I've got a pressing of Back in Black, and it's terrible. But For Those About to Rock was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you though. By the time the '90s hit, I think the labels kind of felt like, metal is actually worth putting a little bit of money into, at least some artists, and kind of stepped up their game a little bit.
Yeah.
Air Supply, I definitely was one of those people that ragged on them, but the harmonies from Air Supply, I will not joke about that. They are really, I mean, they're amazing songwriters. I don't care what anybody says.
You know who's legit is Kansas. And
Oh man,
Kansas is awesome.
hard
If you really dig into and listen to all the different instruments and the harmonies on Kansas are legit.
Definitely. I agree. Thank you, Jeff. Hello, Skylabs and Cheap Audio Man. Appreciate you both. Loved Iowa as a kid. I lived in West Des Moines, Iowa in the mid 70s and attended the state. The day Ellis died. Yeah. I remember that too. My mom cried. And then I remember Prince dying too. And I remember Michael Jackson. I remember those three. But, well, I guess that stuff means something to us. Oh, John. You know John.
What up, John?
Yeah. Huge Zeppelin Sabbath fan since '78. Metallica, yeah. New Year's. I saw Metallica. Here's a good story. In '89. This was on the Injustice for All tour.
Yeah.
And I went with Joey from Slipknot.
Joey Jordan?
And he's short dude. And I'm telling you right now, I think there's probably, I'm just going to guesstimate here, but let's say there's 8 or 10,000 people in there. I really don't know. It was Vets Auditorium or it might have been Hilton. I bet there was 4 girls in the front. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
This was, and I have never been scared for my life at a concert.
I bet those were hardcore fans in the 80s because Justice still was not.
No,
Justice was a bit mainstream because
of
one hit MTV and got into rotation on MTV. So that was kind of like their first
catalyst.
Yeah, that was like their entrance into the mainstream was one. And that record is not recorded well. Like the original Justice and Justice for All. Bad.
You gotta listen to Injustice for Jason.
Yeah, when they turn up the bass. Yeah, Justice for Jason.
Put bass in it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I'm telling that was like we were surrounded by, scary dudes, and we're like 16, 17 years old. And there were times where I was getting picked up and I was getting moved and I had no control over where I ended up. It was just like you start here, you end up over there. I'm so glad I saw that show because, definitely it just got more Disney after that. I hate to say it, but
no, I get it. The Black Album, listen, it's that's why they call it show business.
Sure.
And the Black Album, very controversial, but it's like everybody, I get it all the time. People are like, I'm a sellout now. I remember when you first started out, Randy, you were so good. And now you suck because you've gone mainstream or whatever it is. It's the same story, but the Metallica's put out a lot of awesome records after the Black Album.
Yeah. I'm not bagging on anybody. I'm just glad I got to see that.
No, you got to see them when they were raw and
brutal. I saw Guns N' Roses open up for Aerosmith on the Appetite for Destruction tour.
Yeah.
Before I think Appetite, was a single. I'm not sure if Sweet Child of Mine had come out yet. And Aerosmith was on Permanent Vacation, which was a great album and everything, but I was there for Guns N' Roses.
Right.
Again, I'm like 16, 17 years old. And that show was unreal. I mean, you could just smell LA and the toxic, residue, from the balcony. It was that raw, for lack of a better term, like you just, said. That was incredible too. Let's see, Columbia Music. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, of course. That's the first time I ever got sent to collections.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure.
I probably still own. I don't even know if they're still in business, but I probably still owe Columbia uh, some money.
Them and BMG.
Oh,
Back
PMG.
and
I
forth.
think I was a member of both. And
Mhm.
if you remember when you would get that magazine thing and you'd send it in, you get the 10 records for 99 cents. And then you get the 10 CDs for 99 cents. But if you open them up, like the quality of the cassette, it was a lower tier plastic. The cassette case was lower tier, and it looked like the insert was printed on like newsprint. It wasn't like
Totally. Same.
newsprint, but it was like you could everything about that cassette was just so much cheaper than what you get. Um, Dude, did you have a record store when you grew up? Where'd
Yeah,
you grow up?
in Des Moines.
So I grew up in small town. And at one time somebody tried to open a record store, but I used to have to get my cassettes at the pharmacy. So we had two pharmacies in town and they both had a tiny little section for cassettes and then later CDs, but it was the same stuff. It was like Michael Jackson Thriller, Lionel Richie, Huey Lewis and the News, like Four and Sports.
Yeah.
It was the same cassettes all the time. So when the Cult actually made it in there every now and
Oh,
again, um, and then there's like some Depeche Mode and stuff like that. But that's how I got my music. And we only went to like Lincoln. We never went to Omaha, but we go to Lincoln like twice a year for like school shopping, and then like Christmas shopping. And then I would, and then they finally opened up a Walmart and a Pomida or Alco. Remember Alco and Pomida?
We have Pomida, not Alco.
And they had a bigger music section, so that's where I'd have to get all my music.
Yeah, but wasn't it so special though? You know what I mean? Like that you pack up the whole family in the car and you go in 20 miles or however far it was to
Yeah,
go to the record store. I mean, that was better than Christmas for me.
it was a big
Especially if
deal,
they'd
man.
leave me alone for a half hour to let me look through every single
That's right. Flip it.
cassette or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And it would come in those indestructible plastic sleeves.
The
So
long,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That
the
they would have
anti
to,
theft.
yeah, they have to unlock it when you take it to the checkout.
Totally, totally. Good old days.
Hey,
Uh,
old guy, Ed's in here. Old guy,
Ed's in here. What's up, Ed? How you doing, man? Trying to add this. Oh, there he is. Why can't I? I don't know what I'm. Randy, you should be the one running this.
I can. I tried to click on him already.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
This is Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. Read a lot of comments about high noise floor on vintage units, a little more power. Well, I mean, more watts, I think definitely is good for noise floor. It's going to push everything down the more watts it has. I don't think it matters if it's vintage or new, but I guess I could be wrong. What do you think, Randy?
Noise floor? I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, look at a turntable, and turntables have terrible noise floors, right? Like, and I can hear, you get a good pressing. It sounds really, really, really good. But I don't know, man. I think you remember the receiver wars, right? The power wars. I think we're at a measurement war now with noise floors and total harmonic distortion and signal to noise ratio and all that stuff. So I think up to a point it can make a difference, but it
Yeah,
just depends.
I'm definitely not a weeds person. I don't like reading tech specs. I appreciate those people that do. I wish I did. But like, Aaron's Corner.
Aaron's audio corner, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that stuff fascinates me if I can wrap my mind around it. I mean, I understand what he's doing, and I think it's awesome. And I think
No,
it's
I think what he and ASR does is like a huge, like, it's needed, right? Because like I think it checks some of the manufacturers, because the manufacturers don't have any incentive to be truthful about power ratings or about any of these other ratings, right? So it's cool to
right.
have like independent people checking them on it.
Yeah,
How
I
much
agree.
of that like translates into like musical enjoyment, I think is where some people can't like say, okay, well, this may not measure as well or may have more distortion, but even order harmonics show up as distortion, and even order harmonics sound awesome.
Yeah, it's tubes.
Even
I
some solid state stuff has some
oh
really
yeah.
cool like harmonics in it. Like the guy that did the amp camp kit, Nelson Pass.
Oh
He had tons of second order and fourth, I think second and fourth order harmonics that he would design into a solid state stuff.
yeah. I go off my gut with it. I really do. I think some people get so far into the weeds before they even experience anything.
Yeah.
So many times people come in and they're a first time buyer, and rather than worrying about what something sounds like to them, which they can hear right here, they're wanting to know, how many watts does this have and how much power can these speakers have? And, you know, I don't know. To me, I just don't really look that far into that stuff, because if I set a set of speakers in front of me or an amplifier in front of me, and it happens all the time. We usually have 2 or 3 people working here at all times, and you don't know how many times somebody's plugged in a receiver or a set of speakers, and 2 or 3 heads turn around and go, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Because something's got it.
Yeah.
And you can't really put your finger on it. A text,
No, but you hear it immediately.
you hear it immediately, and
Yeah.
and several people hear it immediately, and that's one of the unfortunate things about purchasing stereo equipment, especially today, with not being able to go and sit in front of it. Unfortunately, people are left to tech specs to
Yeah.
try and figure out if they're going to like it, or a reviewer online that is just shilling.
Yeah. Like me. The funny thing is, though, is like I have my like bias in what I like. So as soon as I hear that sound, I'm like, ding, I love this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, and especially with amplifiers, I like a dynamic amplifier with a bit of a scoop in the mid range and then like sparkly high. So I'm really into some of that the vintage Pioneer sound. I really dug. And so when I hear something like that that's modern, I love it. But in 1980, Pioneer came out with their first digital receiver, which sounded exactly like a Yamaha receiver, which if I'm using the variable loudness, I can get the Yamaha to sound kind of like where I want it to sound. But that Pioneer, they went from that kind of very dynamic, fun, punchy and sparkly to like full mid-range. Like that's what we're getting, is just like straight up mid-range assault. And there's a lot of amplifiers out there today that have that sound, and I can appreciate that people love that sound, but I'm not like one of those people, if that makes sense.
Well, do you think that's them trying to appease the reviewer, or the tech specs, rather
I
than?
think it's just like what they like, man. They love that sound, because there's good, really solid amps out there that people that are well respected that don't have the sound that I particularly like. So I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know,
not a
man.
fan of neutral either. I don't like it.
I don't either.
Well, some people, they don't want things exaggerated. I want what the artist intended. Like whatever. And I want something that makes me want to sit in front of it. And usually, it's something that some people would consider scooped.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've always said I like the loudness button.
I love it.
Yeah, it makes. I like an 80 hertz kick drum. I like when it
Mhm.
hits me. I like feeling that concussion, and I like the power of it. And that doesn't mean that because I listen to everything from like Sigur Rós, to uh, Herb Albert. You know what I mean? But um, I definitely prefer that, and yeah, but that's a great thing about this hobby. It
Yeah.
is all so subjective, and nobody's opinion is worth anything to anybody else. It's just It's just
Yeah.
your opinion, man.
Well, and I'm not saying that one. I try not to say that one's better than the other. I just try to like listen and then describe what the sound is to me, and then I'll talk about what I like. But I think sometimes people confuse me saying this is the sound that I like with this is the sound that is right for everybody, and that is not the case at all.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own like what they like. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why like you can go to top tier restaurants and get two different steaks or two different cheeseburgers and they
Yeah.
taste completely different, and they're both well respected and great cheeseburgers, but they're different.
Yeah, and I agree. Food is the best analogy for music or for sound
Yeah.
because it is just they're equally. When people say, well, I've got this. What would you get? And I'm like, that's like saying, do you like Coke or Pepsi better?
Hmm.
You're splitting hairs, man.
Yeah.
So, let me see. Do you guys collect vinyl records? I have over 2,500. If so, do you own any of the Rhino Hi-Fi? I've got the Cars, which is amazing. And I'm really excited for that whole line and that, they're putting out those are quality pressings and they're keeping it below that $100 level, which is what's so cool. I know they've got a lot of Deep Purple and Thin Lizzy coming out in that Rhino collection, which is, yeah, I'm stoked. I've got a massive record collection.
I don't have a ton, but I do have a fair amount.
And I never quit buying. My first record, and I still own it today, was Pyromania. That I bought with my own money. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
That record. So if you look at that album art on that, to this day, man, that album art is like still holds up. It's and
it's so cool.
I've studied it because they have like first it's a black frame, and then they have like a comic book style building with the crosshairs on it through a scope, so it's magnified. And the way that image is layered, it pulls you into that record. I just love that album art on that. Love Pyromania.
Yep, it grabbed me too. Maybe it was that cartoony thing, because I was 10, when I bought it, and I don't know, but that image was the logo too. The yellow with the red border, and just all of it,
and it lays on top of not only the border, but it also lays on top of
the image.
The image too.
Yeah.
It's a really well done album.
Yep.
Album art. I like Pyromania, man.
Old guy Hi-Fi, Ed, you the man. You know what, Ed? I went to Expono last year, and I'm walking down the hall, and I hear this Kevin, and I turn around, and Ed was one of the only people that did that, and I ended up talking to him.
Didn't you come and hang out in the hotel last year?
Ed wasn't there. Yeah, I did.
You did. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we ended up talking. Like, man, Ed is just like he is like a thesaurus.
Yeah.
But he really is, man.
Encyclopedia, man. That guy knows everything. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed's legit, man. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you're having a great New Year's, Ed.
His channel's taking off too, man. Ed, keep chugging, man.
Yeah, he's doing good stuff. Sorry, I got lost in the comments. Got a tenacious tortoise. What that means? Oh, this guy's got a channel from Canada. His name's Brian. Does restoration videos. I just passed him. This guy right here. Go check out his channel. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of your channel. He's doing good stuff though too. Speaking of vinyl, I set this out. Okay, so this is
Led Zeppelin 2. Yeah,
it's Led Zeppelin 2, but this is a Robert Ludwig master. And I've been waiting for one of these for so long. If you're not familiar with that story, Randy, and I'm probably going to butcher it, I should have looked it up before. But the story goes that the president of the Atlantic gave that record to his daughter, who had a suitcase record player, and she put the stylus on, and it started mistracking. It would jump out of the groove because it was mixed so hot. And so he immediately called and said, we got to recut this album. And it wasn't that it was cut too hot. It was that, she was using a suitcase record player with a crappy stylus on it.
Right.
And so these first presses, or the Robert Ludwig mixes, because he's the one that mastered it, they're getting crazy money for these things. And I haven't even listened to it yet, because I'm not going to put a stylus on that until I've got, a nice listening room or whatever. But I just got it this year. That's the find of my year for sure.
What'd you pay for it?
I really didn't pay that much for it, and I'll be honest with you. Somebody brought in a bunch of records on a Saturday when we're busy. I flipped through them, and I said, I made them an offer for the whole lot. And then you go back later on after we're closed and start really looking at things. I'm like, holy, it's like, it looks brand new. It looks unplayed. There's not even any spindle marks in here where somebody's kind of flubbed around. Yeah.
Hey, just while I'm thinking about it, if you see some stuff come in that's like my kind of style, hold it back for me.
I'll send it to you, man. This is another grail right here.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I've been waiting for that one for a long time too. This actually sounds really good for a night.
Have you listened to the Pale Emperor?
No.
Dude, get it on vinyl. It is it's really great. The recording. And it's one of the few records that front to back you can just listen to it in its entirety, and it tells a story. There are so many. So Killing Strangers is one of probably the most popular and well known, because that was on the John Wick soundtrack.
Oh.
But that's on that record. But I think it's his best writing. I think it's the best. It's really laid back compared to a lot of his other stuff, but front to back, The Pale Emperor is, I think, the best Marilyn Manson record I've ever heard. It's just spectacular. I think people that don't even like Marilyn Manson would like that record.
I don't, I know he's controversial and everything, but
like what rock star hasn't done? I'm not defending anything. Yep. Not defending anything, but like, who hasn't done something crazy? And like, I guarantee you, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. I mean, there's a lot of stories about Led Zeppelin. Yeah. So anyway, Pale Emperor, great, underrated.
Well, I'll definitely listen. Mechanical Animals was that thing. Just, it's another concept album. It sounds like that's what the Pale Emperor is a concept album.
Well, it's really good, man.
He gets overlooked. Looking for another question. RL pressing. Yeah, I about crap my pants when I saw that RL on the dead wax. I was like, you gotta be kidding.
GG, hold on. So Fart Sack Jack said GG Allen.
Oh, I love. Did
you like GG Allen?
No, I love that name, Fart Sack Jack.
Do you know who GG Allen is?
Yeah.
Todd Phillips' student film was a documentary on GG Allen. You know Todd Phillips?
No.
So Todd Phillips did he did all the Hangover movies. He did Joker. Joker Part 2, which everybody hates. I didn't even watch it. But Todd Phillips has had a very successful film career. And he went from kind of like the raunchy comedies to, some more, how everybody does. Like if you start off with raunchy comedies and you're good, then you start to do more drama stuff, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, his student film was a documentary on GG Allen.
Huh.
Crazy movie to watch, man.
You remember the name?
Something like, not Filth. It was like, anyway, just look up Todd Phillips, G.G. Allen, and it'll come up.
I bet Eric will tell me it. He's into film a lot. He'll be like, dude, how have you not seen that? I'll be like, I'm an asshole.
Dude, it's bananas. I mean, absolute bananas to watch that.
I need a good movie. I do.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I will put it to you this way: I saw it and I'll never watch it again. It's an experience to watch. It's almost like crazy to even think that this guy was a real. That it was like that was his shtick, right? Anyway,
that's a smart take though, because I've seen movies before that I shouldn't have watched the second time because it impacted me so much the first time, and I ruined it by the second viewing.
Yeah,
I'll have to remember that too.
Yeah, I think it was on YouTube for a while, but anyway.
Yeah. They'll both do channels. What is cartridge recommendation? 5 to 600 for SL 1400. I have a 2M blue.
That's what I was going to say. I like the 2M blue.
My cartridge choice would be a DL104R or a DL103. Sorry, DL103. I don't know if there's that much of a difference between the DL103 and the DL103R though. I mean, but it'll get you at that $500 price point.
Goldring E4. I don't know what the Goldring E4 is coming in at. I think it might be a little bit less than that, but that's a legit cart. It's very similar to the 2M blue though, so I don't know if you're wanting a different sound.
I like the 2M blue. I'm not a fan of the red though.
I'm not a fan of the red either. I think it's too forward in the mid range. I think the blue is really balanced and dynamic.
You like SVS for some? What's SVS?
Randy? SVS is a company that makes speakers and subs.
Oh, yeah.
I do like SVS. The enclosed subs do not disappear as well as ported. All the best in 2025. I've got a sealed SB1000 Pro, and I have it like way far away. And I messed with if you get the phase setting just right. Now, if I'm sitting right next to it, yeah, it doesn't disappear. But if I'm in the middle, I can get that dialed in. Their new speakers are a trip, man. They sound very similar to like really high-end B&Ws. So with the right electronics and the right recording, their new Ultra Evolution stuff is really amazing. Anyway, that's my take.
Yeah, I didn't have an opinion. I don't think I've ever heard one.
The beauty of the the beauty of the SVS subwoofer though is the app. So you get this app, you download it, and you communicate with the sub via Bluetooth, and you can change crossover points, you can change phase. It has like a 3 or 4 band EQ, so if you have like room issues or whatever, you can mess with it. It's the smartest thing I've ever seen on a subwoofer, and it's an absolute. If you've ever tried to like mess with phase on a subwoofer and you have to sit and then you have to go tweak, sit, but if you have that app, man, you're just like whoop, and you just move that bass till it's right to the speakers and you're done. It's crazy app.
Is it called D-Rack? Am I right on that?
No, so D-Rack is like they were a standalone company. I don't know if they've been acquired. I think maybe they did get acquired. So that is like way more involved. You set up a microphone like that, and then you run the D-Rack test tones and everything, and they can really help out with bass issues, especially with like room and phasing it and like suckouts or nodes or whatever they're called. But the SVS isn't as involved as that. You do it all by ear. They may have some option to do it, but I never like whatever D-Rack like serves me up. I'm like, okay, well that's a good start, and then I go and I tweak it from there because I have that certain sound that I like, and it's not neutral. But the SVS app makes their subs worth it, even if people like rel subs or RSL makes a really good affordable subwoofer. But man, the SVS app is just like next level as far as convenience.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the world of subs that deep.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Ayo. Somebody had a good question. No, I lost it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. When I drive to see you, do you want this? I appreciate it. We do get. There's nothing we do with Bang& Olufsen besides speakers, unfortunately. I've just got so many parts, and I appreciate people, wanting to donate stereo equipment, but we're so loaded up on parts that I'd almost say, try and find somebody local that could use it. Somebody that's actually going to take it and make another system working again. I just don't want to. I don't like taking things that I can't put to good use, but I do appreciate that. Would yeah, Brian. That's. Did you get any good gifts this year, Randy? I mean, at this age, my wife and I don't even trade gifts, but
so my wife every year my wife buys. So I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy.
Yeah,
and I don't even buy. I have 20-year-old t-shirts and stuff, but every year she gets me a new round of sweaters and t-shirts. So I got a few of those. I did buy. So I lost like 20 pounds. So I have a very nice leather jacket from Shot, New York. They're made in New Jersey, all U.S. made. They've been around for forever, right? I think they've been around for over 100 years. They make, in my opinion, like the best leather jacket. So my present to myself was I bought the same leather jacket that I own, except a size smaller.
Oh, cool, man.
So that was I did that, and I sold the old one. Sold the old one on eBay. Went right away.
Yeah. How I mean, I don't mean to pry, but how'd you drop the weight? Because I noticed you dropped the weight. I mean,
you know what I did? It was this simple. So first of all, I read or listened to a book. It's called Atomic Habits. The absolute best, like productivity, and I could guess you could consider it to be like a business or self-help book or whatever. It's mostly just like basic stuff. And you can listen to it. It's very straightforward, and there's no fat in that book. Absolutely no fat. Every word is like important. And I was listening to it, and it just basically said if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? And it talks about don't overcomplicate things, just do something that you think is, will benefit you. And if you want to, so basically I thought, okay, if I want to lose weight, because I used to do triathlons. I actually did an Ironman. I did 3 half Ironmans and then a full Ironman. Do you know about like an Ironman?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
running, swimming, jumping, all that stuff.
Yeah. But it's like it's 2.5 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then a marathon at the end, like back to back.
Yeah.
So
brutal.
It took me like 15.5 hours. Anyway, I was obviously in decent shape. So I'm like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to run every day or like 4 or 5 times a week, right? Nothing crazy. And then I'm not going to eat. I'm going to, at 6 o'clock, I'll eat a salad and then kind of eat whatever I want. So I just did that. And then
so willpower, you willpowered it.
I just started doing stuff that I thought like, what do healthy people do? Well, healthy people exercise and they don't eat as much. And I wanted to make it as simple as possible. But I'm also the type of guy that like I can eat the same thing every day and not care.
Yeah. I'm the king of that.
Yeah, but I've gained a bunch of it back because I went bananas during Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
But I'm still down. So anyway, would you get anything cool for Christmas?
Did I get anything cool for Christmas? Yeah, I did. I probably shouldn't mention it though, because
come on, man, out with it.
I got a T-shirt Oh yeah, I can't say it, but
All right.
sorry, I know it's a bummer. There was what we got here. Listen to. How do I do that? How do I make that a comment? Somebody donated. Listen to ND Taproot manuscript. Great sound. I hope you know what that is, Randy, because I'm not.
I don't.
I'll write it down though. I appreciate the ND
20 bones, baby.
Taproot. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Manuscript. Got a nice list of stuff to get to. What do you think, Randy? We've been going.
I didn't want to say it, but when I saw Taproot, I in my brain,
tap out.
I'm about ready to tap out.
Yeah, me too, man.
We're old, man. That's fine, man. I
man.
completely embrace my my wanting to go to bed at like at 10 or 11 at night every night.
It's so crazy. If you would have told me, even my 20s and 30s, that I would become a creature of habit and I would stay at home all the time, I would not do anything or leave the house, I would have told you you're absolutely crazy. And I am so my dad. It happened.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't consider myself my father, but I like music. I like movies, and I can do all of that at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so my daughter, she had a friend over, and she's like, and she always does this to me. Like, whenever she has a friend over, she's like, "Can we go do that?" Alexa, be quiet. So they came up and they're like, "Can we go see Wicked?" And this is like at 7:30, 7:45, and I'm like, and of course, I don't want to say no to the kids, right? So I'm like, okay, well, let's see what time they're showing. So they weren't showing it until like 9:00, and in my brain, I'm like, oh,
right.
So we finally found one that I think started like right at 9, and we go there, and I'm not into musicals, but I want to be supportive, right? So we go to this place that serves food, so it's kind of like a restaurant. They bring you the food. It's super expensive,
Sure.
but it's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep, which is fine. But I'm like looking up the movie and I'm like seeing how long it is, and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm just like, oh,
that's midnight.
And there was so much singing, Kevin.
Yeah.
So much, man. Every time he turned around, they were breaking into some stupid song.
Did you enjoy it though?
No, not at all. I barely made it through. I had to go out
the Broadway show of Wicked.
I've heard that's great.
That was absolutely incredible. I went because my girlfriend wanted to go, and I think I liked it more than she did. I'll admit it.
I've heard great things about it. Not really my gig. I wanted to be supportive, but it was at one of those joints that has a bar in the lobby, and there was football playing, and I'm like, next time, I'm obviously not going to drink a beer, but next time I'm going to go sit out in the lobby while the kids go to the movie.
Absolutely.
Because it was brutal.
It's good of you to do that though, man.
No, I'm not going to say no to the kids.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get us, horizontal, as they would say, I think.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for having me on, man. This is great.
Dude. Yeah, you did, I appreciate it because I know you've got a million other things you could be doing on New Year's.
Dude,
so thank you.
Man, this is what I love to do, man. I love
fun.
YouTube. I love YouTube.
I had fun. We'll see if other people did. Yeah.
I mean, we covered kicks. We covered with the Bullet Boys. We talked about G.G. Allen and Todd Phillips. I mean, we covered a lot of ground tonight.
We did, man. And we barely talked about stereo equipment, which is a bonus for me.
Yeah. So. Well, it's fun, but I mean, it's all about the music, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Seriously, thank you for everybody that had a super chat. And if I missed you, I'm really sorry. I'm not good at this. It's the first time I've ever ran the controls myself. So hope you have an amazing New Year's. I hope 2025 is the best year for everybody. I really do, because, life's hard. So we could all use a break. And we'll see you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Night.